Welcome to today's Daily Hustle video. Every day I'm sharing with you tips, strategies, news, and resources for being successful in your own online home-based business. I'm Dave Espino, your host, and here today I want to talk about mental toughness. Mental toughness is what you get when you're out in the field working it, when you're hustling every day, when you're building your business and being brutally honest about your results and brutally determined to achieve your results. Mental toughness is not something you can buy, and mental toughness is not something that you can learn. It's something that you develop by actually being in the trenches, by actually going and doing your business. You see, I find a lot of people that are lacking mental toughness. I find a lot of people on social media that are lacking mental toughness, and it makes me wonder if those people are going to make it. And the reason is because they're still living in the world of theory. They're asking questions on social media that tell me that they have not set forth into their first opportunity or started working in their opportunity. The kinds of questions they ask tell me that they're not mentally tough. Now, that's not a bad thing. It's just something that you have to overcome by actually taking a lot of action. I call it taking a massive action burst. By working for 90 days in massive action mode toward your goal and having a good plan to begin with. Because at the foundation of everything, you've got to have a good plan, right? But then by working toward your goal in a massive amount of effort, massive amount of action, having a good plan, you're going to get some great results. You're also going to get some negative feedback. You're going to get some things that didn't work. And in the process, you're going to find out what does work, and you're going to be able to refine and hone your action at a higher and higher level as you go. So that's part of the process of developing mental toughness, but it begins with action first. Taking a massive amount of correct action, not just all kinds of action, but correct action toward your goals, having a good plan to begin with, and then seeing what happens and refining as you go. You see, too many people want all the answers in the beginning, and very often there aren't a whole lot of answers until you actually learn those answers by actually taking action and moving forward. So let me tell you a story about mental toughness that came to me. When I was a youngster, when I was 7 years old, my parents started a flea market business. They started selling toys at local flea markets in Southern California. And that was a hard life for me. My parents were both blue-collar workers. My dad was a welder, and my mom worked in the LA garment district sewing clothes. And they wanted a better life for themselves, for their family. So they started this little business on the side. So not only did they work Monday through Friday at their jobs, but on Saturday and Sunday they worked at flea markets. And they brought me along and my sister along. And so we became little entrepreneurs, learning the ins and outs of buying and selling. You know, we had our own little businesses as well, selling things. Since we had an easy way to reach a lot of people, we started selling our own things. I developed mental toughness through that business because it required getting up early, sometimes getting up at 5 or 6 a.m., driving to the flea market, waiting in line with a line of cars waiting outside of the drive-in theater, because that's where the flea markets were held out here in California. Waiting in line, eating maybe a breakfast burrito that my mom made for us. Then the lines of cars would move into the drive-in theater and we would all set up our little shops, our little stands. You know, we'd set up a tarp to protect us from the sun, and then we'd set up little card tables, filling them with our merchandise. And I remember the first time that we actually set up, the first time ever, somebody came to our stand, looked at my stuff, and walked away. And as a 7-year-old, I was heartbroken because I thought that we were there. We did all this work so that people could buy from us. But this person came along, looked at our stuff, and walked away. And I was like, wow, I thought everybody was supposed to buy from us. That was the beginning of me developing mental toughness. That was the beginning of me understanding not everybody buys from you every time, right? But over time, I developed mental toughness because not only do we have to get up early, work hard to set up our stand, spend all day in the heat, Southern California heat and humidity, talk to lots of people and sell lots of merchandise. But then at the end of the day, when we're exhausted, we had to pack it all up into our van and go home. Now, not only did my parents work all 7 days of the week because they did their work, their regular job during the week, and then they did their weekend flea market business. But I worked 7 days a week, right? Because I went to school 5 days a week and I worked over the weekends. This developed a tremendous amount of mental toughness that the average kid did not have. Now, at the same time, I didn't get to enjoy as many things like sports or whatever. Thankfully, I wasn't into sports, but I didn't get to enjoy the normal things that many kids get to enjoy. But I got a world-class education in entrepreneurship and in being in business for yourself, and developed mental toughness. The mental toughness came from surviving really difficult work conditions, really hard work on the weekends, and even sometimes on Friday nights, packing up the van full of merchandise so that on Saturday morning we'd be able to go to the swap meet and sell our stuff. Also, mental toughness came from receiving lots of rejection, from having a lot of people come to our stand and not buy, from having days when we hardly sold anything, when we hardly made any money, from having days when we would set up and then it would start raining and nobody would show up and we would lose a lot of potential income that day, from having windstorms blow our tarp away, from having gypsies steal our merchandise and having to go after them to retrieve the merchandise that they stole. I mean, these people had they were brilliant at doing it, at stealing. They would create a distraction. They'd be start yelling or crying or doing something off in the distance so that people would go look at, would start looking over there. And while they're doing that, they're taking stuff and put it in their pockets and putting it in who knows where. There was so that I learned from working at flea markets, um, losing money, having the opportunity to sell things and not receive the amount that I thought I would receive for them, losing money on things that I invested in, merchandise that I invested in. So many learning experiences. So, how do you develop mental toughness? Through learning experiences, through digging in and taking action, massive action, and surviving through all the ups and downs, and especially the downs. You develop mental toughness. Another word for this is confidence. Because as you're building and as you're working your business, you're developing more and more confidence. As you're refining your idea of what needs to be done in your business, and as you're moving forward fast and learning from your failures and refining and honing the right things to do to achieve maximum success, that is building your confidence. And so it's really important to do that by moving forward fast and taking massive action. That's how you develop mental toughness. There's no easy way. You develop it by working hard and by taking action. You can't read about it in a book, although if you take courses and if you read books, you can learn how other people developed mental toughness. You can learn from their mistakes or from their life lessons, but there's no substitute, in my opinion. If you want to develop mental toughness, there's no substitute for just taking massive action. Step away from the world of theory. Step away from asking questions on social media and take massive action today. You'll be that much better for it. You'll develop confidence. You'll develop mental toughness. And by the way, if you want some information on how to develop confidence, I've got a special discount link down below this video for my latest course all about how to develop confidence. I'll see you tomorrow on the Daily Hustle.